there are legends on Dereth, legends dredged from the remnants of ancient Yalain. One such legend speaks of a mighty sword, a blade created millennia ago to fight the darkness, a weapon forged to bring back the lost light of hope. The Blade Master Nud, Rune Lord of the House of Reda, had heard tell of this legendary weapon. He and several of the Rune Guards sought the counsel of Fanzen San, keeper of the Hebbian Toe Library. Fanzen San chuckled when he heard Nud's request. As the young Rune Lord and his companions settled about him, waiting eagerly for the fruits of his lore, he began a tale. Far across the desert, deep in the dire lands, is the blade that you seek. You must venture into what was the heart of the old Yaleni Empire on this island of Dereth, which they called Ireth Lasal. Beyond the ancient ruins of bygone ages lies the Hall of Lost Light, named by the explorer Alatar Locke for the defeat of goodness which occurred there so many years ago. Emboldened by Fanzen's words, the Rune Guard had made their way into the Direlands and gathered by a lifestone near the Hall of Lost Light. There they made their vows to complete this quest and gain a new weapon in their war against evil. Braving perils best left to the dark of nightmares, Nud led his companions into the hall. The dust of ages coated the entrance hall. On the ground, Nud found a note. It was penned by Alatar Locke himself. The sword was not without protection. As the companions delved deeper into the halls, they were met in battle by the eternal guardians of the sword, whose souls had been given to the powers of light so their bodies may protect the blade for all eternity. The Paladin Templar Knight whispered, "Perhaps they were once like us, an order dedicated to goodness and honor. I pray that we are capable of such noble sacrifice as theirs, that our own souls are as true and pure. I pray that the Rune Guard have the opportunity to perform such selfless service." Advancing through the murky corridors, a fiery glow began to push the gloom aside. Blinding light overwhelmed their senses, the light of the heavens. With thunderous steps, a golem burst into the ranks of the Rune Guard. Its presence announced that the Rune Guard truly had discovered a location of power. The Guardians of the Sword fell upon the Rune Guard, their skills in weapons and magic undimmed by their millennia of service to the powers of light. Seeking to test the mettle and honor of those that would possess the sword, the Guardians held back nothing. Spells split the air, and blade rang against blade as the Rune Knights dispatched the Eternal Guardians. Finally, all that stood between the fatal sword and Nud was the High Guardian himself, a being of great power with the strength and wisdom of ages. The High Guardian drew a magnificent sword and leapt into attack. It was all that Nud could do to fend off its blows while his comrades attacked the Guardian. Finally, his strength expended, the ancient being fell to the ground. As the light of life faded from his sunken eyes, he looked at Nud and rasped, "You have accepted the burden of the Sword of Lost Light. Guard it well. I go now to my final rest. Farewell, brother." Nud held out the sword and vowed, "By this blade, I swear to bring back the light that was lost." If only Nud had known how often that vow would be challenged in the dark days ahead.